Hi everyone, welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm broadcasting from Budapest, Hungary. Hi Shanu Devgan, how are you? Good to see you first as the first member in today's member only chat. That's great, on time, ready to go. Excellent, good for you Shanu. All right, so today we are looking at an IELTS Task 2 open or direct question. Today is November the 17th and our materials are coming from our websites as usual. So if you're studying for academic IELTS, check us out at aehelp.com. And if you are studying for general IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com, where we have lots of great materials for you to improve your band scores and get those high marks on your IELTS exam. Earlier today, we released a new HD video for you as well, a full version for all of our YouTube channel viewers. That's an interview between me and a Brazilian candidate for the speaking section. That candidate scores 8.5. Make sure to check that out on the channel. It is a popular upload. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So, again, today we are looking at Task 2. If you want to get our exam book, 6 original practice exams for the IELTS with audio for not only the listening but also the speaking and reading sections, you can download for academic, or you can find them, on Amazon at AE Helps Academic IELTS for the academic books and GE Helps General IELTS for the general IELTS books. So you can search for that on your Amazon store. If you have questions about our software, our books, or our products, just email me, adrian@aehelp.com. Okay, so today, Task 2, open question. No class tomorrow. We will be releasing new HD videos over the next couple days, so stay tuned. No class Monday, Tuesday, and then back on Wednesday with Speaking Part 3 for everybody to participate in. Hi Parth Desai, good to see you in class. Hi Naveen, nice of you to join in. We're looking at your question today for a Task 2 open question. Okay, so students and everybody who's watching, a very interesting and important piece of information to start today's class. All of the questions that you ask in the world and that you are asked by other people in the world can be divided into 2 categories. It's very important to know this clearly and to respect the importance and the difference of these 2 types of questions. Hi Jeffrey, I'm doing great, thank you. One type of question is what's called a closed question, and the other type of question is what's called an open question. Okay, sometimes open questions are referred to as direct questions as well. It's a little bit different. Direct question means you're being asked very clearly and directly, and an indirect question is when you have to figure out what the question is actually trying to get from you. So, a closed question, anybody know what that is? And an open question. And it is good to know this information when you are taking exams like IELTS, absolutely. Okay, so Jeffrey says a closed question is maybe like a yes/no question. Yeah, a closed question is a question with a restricted number of answers. So a question with restricted number of answers. Often it's yes/no. It can also be true, false, not given. Multiple choice. Okay, those are all closed type of questions. Very common type of closed question that we ask from each other as humans in the world is what's called a tag question. Okay, tag questions are like, you went to the store, didn't you? It's a type of yes/no question. Okay, and then we have the open question. So there are open questions, and yes, I know that we're talking about IELTS Task 2 today. Don't worry, I haven't lost my mind. I will connect this information for you to this. Hi Farheen, good to see you in class. Hi Mohammed, great to see such a good set of our members coming in today's class to join, and it's a very good class. Naveen made a very good request for today's topic about this open type Task 2 question. Okay, so closed questions, restricted number of answers. Open questions, simply put, any number of answers, or can have a lot of possible different answers, okay? So many possible answers, and these are your W questions, okay? So W questions like what, when, where, why, and then as I think Jeffrey just said, how is the weather? That's an open question as well. So how is the weather is a good example of an open question because you can answer that in so many different ways. You can say, well, it's raining, it's sunny, it's hot, it's cold. So there are many, many different ways that you can answer that question. If we ask the same question as a closed question, we would say, it's cold today, isn't it? So that's asking about the weather as a closed question. It's cold today, isn't it? Yes, it's cold. No, it's not cold. All right, so let's talk about these a little bit more. It's a very interesting topic to understand closed and open questions and what the real significant difference of these are. So you can think about these in the critical sense as well. Why do people ask closed questions? And you'll understand why the IELTS does it as well here in a second. So why do people ask closed questions? What's the logic? What's the reason behind it? So why would people want to give only a limited number of choices? So why would we want to do that? Hi, Baljit. Good to see you in class. Come on, members. Here's your chance to shine, to dazzle, razzle. Why? Why would a person just say, it's cold, isn't it, instead of asking you, how is the weather? Jeffrey says, well, to confirm an opinion. Yeah, to seek agreement or disagreement. Yeah, absolutely. To confirm opinion, seek agreement or disagreement. Okay, absolutely. That's a very, very good reason. That's one of them. Why else? So what would be another reason to ask a closed question? Farheen says, well, maybe the only possibility is a yes or no. Yeah, definitely. So if you have Farheen, like for example, true, false, not given in the reading section, right? They basically want the student to say, yes, it's in there. No, it's not in there. Or it's not given in the text. So they are helping the student by saying, hey, instead of asking you a more difficult question, how does this information relate to the text? I'll let you know that it's in there, it's not in there, or it's not agreed with. So to make the question easier, let's say, it's not always true, but to give the only possibility, make questions easier, yeah. There's another reason, there's another important one. I haven't seen anybody say it. There you go, Baljit. Now you're on the right track. Yeah, absolutely. You can say that another way. And this is a very interesting one here. Baljit is on the right track if everybody's reading his comment there. He says to keep conversations short. Absolutely. It's one of the big reasons that we do this is to save time. Okay. So to save time. Now, there are other reasons. I'm not going to explain all the reasons for closed questions. But one of the reasons we ask closed questions is because we're impatient. We don't want to wait for the other person to fully express themselves, to give a detailed, long answer. So we ask a closed question because it's yes or no, and then good, thank you, you agreed or you disagreed. I don't really care what other opinion you might have, and now I'm out of here. Okay, so that's absolutely why we ask closed questions, because we're not really interested in the opinion of the other person. Okay, it's very, very true. And like I said, don't worry, I have it in my head that we are talking about IELTS Task 2, and I'll connect all of this to that question that Naveen sent. So why do we ask closed questions? Or sorry, open questions? Well, here you might realize because we respect the subjective nature of the world and know that others may have a completely unique perspective. That's one reason. And we want to develop knowledge, and we have time to listen to complete opinions. Okay, so I'll keep it short like this. So those are a couple of reasons. So before I get at this task 2 question, that's an open question, okay? Because you're probably realizing that most IELTS questions are closed questions. So most IELTS task 2 questions are closed questions. So, for example, do you agree or disagree? Advantages and disadvantages. Which one do you choose? Okay, so most task 2s are, for better or worse, they are closed questions, okay? But sometimes you will get an open question. Before I get at this, so before I go at this in more detail, here's something that I want to give to you members for your life and to improve the quality of your life. When you're talking to people you care about, like your family or your partner, like your wife or your husband or your girlfriend, what kind of questions should you use in your conversations? Open or closed? Okay. So what types of questions? So Baljit says you should ask open questions from people that you care and that you love. Jeffrey agrees. Baljit says it should improve the quality of conversation, maybe. Mohammed, thank you, also saying open question. Absolutely. So this is to all of our viewers and our members. This is just a little life hack. A gem, a piece of gold for your life. When you are talking with people you care about, absolutely, Naveen, use open questions, okay? And you might say, oh, Adrian, thanks for that. Yeah, if I knew that, it makes sense, of course. But that's often not the case. So as many of you know, my major was psychology in university. And psychologists are often helping people to live better lives by simply explaining to them how important it is to use open questions in their daily conversation, not to assume information, not to force their friends and their partners into a position, but to really seek their others' true opinion. And you do that with open questions. What would you like to do tonight, honey? How was your day today, sweetheart? Why are you upset? So don't say things like, you're upset because I didn't do the dishes, right? Don't force the person into a yes-no position. Let them express themselves. Be patient. Listen to that full opinion, okay? That's a really, really important life hack there for you, okay? So be patient. Ask open questions. Don't let today's fast world force you into bad communication with people you care about, okay? The world will wait. Just be patient. Ask open questions. All right, so let's get back to IELTS. That was just a life hack, but a very important one. Let's get back to IELTS. So most IELTS Task 2 questions are closed questions. They ask you to agree or disagree. They ask you for the advantages and disadvantages of a topic or which one you choose and why, okay? You're very welcome, Baljit, for that little anecdote. But sometimes, and Naveen asked about this because I'm sure she saw one of these, you will get an open question. At times, I would say if you asked me, if you said, Adrian, how often? I would say at times maybe 1 of 5 exams. IELTS can ask an open question for task 2, okay? And an open question is like the one that we're looking at today, which is here. Okay, so this question says you should spend about 40 minutes on this task. Present a written essay as you would to a professor in a university class. Many people believe that financial success is important for a fulfilling and happy life. What is needed to achieve financial success these days, and is this possible for everyone? Okay, so the primary question, what is needed to achieve financial success these days? That's an open question. Is this possible for everyone? That's a closed question. That's yes, no. But the primary question, what is needed to achieve financial success these days? That's an open question. Okay? Now, of course, the rest of it's the same. You have to give reasons, include relevant examples, explanations. This is third person again. And you have to write at least 250 words. Okay, which one do you think is easier for IELTS? A closed question or an open question? So which one is, let's say, luckier to get on your IELTS exam? Thank you, Jeffrey. Which one is luckier? Is it better to get an open question on IELTS Task 2 like this one, or is it better to get a closed question on IELTS? Jeffrey says, I think it's a closed question that's better to get. Naveen agrees. I think it's a closed one. Yeah, it is a closed. Closed questions are a little bit easier. Okay, so closed questions are easier on IELTS because you don't have to think as much. Okay, in an exam, it's often easier when you're just given a choice of yes or no. So open questions on tests are, generally speaking, more difficult. Okay, so open questions are usually more difficult than closed questions for task 2 because you have to think of the answer on your own, okay, and be able to back it up. So there are a couple of very important points to remember. Okay, number 1 is think of your answer quickly and really focus on what most people would say. Do not try to be unique or too clever. Okay, not on the IELTS. On the IELTS, your goal is to get a high band score, and to do that, it's best to just go with the easiest possible answer. So with an open question, because you're not given a choice, you have to think, okay, first, what are 3-4 main reasons to answer this open question? What would the majority of people say? So what would the public say? Okay, so let's go back to this question here. All right, so it says, what is needed to achieve financial success these days? All right, so if you ask a person this question, what is needed to achieve financial success these days? What do you think the top answers would be? Okay, so what would be one of the top answers? Baljeet, I'm not sure. Yeah, is this possible for everyone? That's a closed part of the question, Baljeet. Yeah, I said that before. Okay, so what is needed for financial success these days? So Farheen says hard work. Jeffrey says knowledge. Hard work, dedication. Okay, those are actually two different ideas. Jeffrey says innovation. Let's see what else you're talking about here. So quality education is what Naveen says. Baljeet, so that's where you have to be really careful. You can't just say many factors, because you can get lost very quickly even before you start writing in your response, and you're going to have a tough time to get a good band score if you get lost by thinking of too many factors, okay? So good education and knowledge are possibly connected. Sure. Okay. Naveen says adaptability or flexibility. Okay, that also is expressed as being dynamic. Okay, so so far that's okay. Mohammed Wahab says, how about creativity? Okay. Let's put it here for now. Okay, so just imagine that in that 40 minutes to answer this question in your IELTS exam, you're taking 2 minutes, of course, to write down very quickly your key ideas for your essay. And you've written down hard work, dedication, innovation, good education, ability to be dynamic, creativity. Shanu says talented. Okay. All right. So far so good. Farheen says using technology, maybe. Okay. Yes. Anything missing from here? So anything else that you want to add beyond these? Naveen says some life skills as well. So far it's fairly good. You're on a fairly good track here. Okay. Now you have this list. So of course the question that you're asking is, there we go, Baljeet. That was one that I was hoping somebody would say. Okay. Startup capital. And many people would probably agree with you on that, Baljeet, these days, that one of the very real truths and difficult truths, hard pill to swallow for many people these days is even with hard work, dedication, innovation, good education, it is very difficult to be financially successful if you don't have any money that you use to make more money, right? So money is used to make money these days. And a lot of people would agree that if you don't have money to invest, then all the talent and creativity in the world will not help, okay? Mohammed says perhaps honesty. Okay, so you have this long list, and now you're looking at it. And of course, the question that you should be asking right now is, so what should I write about? Okay, so which of these should I write about? All right, so you have this nice list of 8 different points: hard work, dedication, innovation, good education, ability to be dynamic, creativity, talented, startup capital. You have 40 minutes, you have 250 word minimum. You can't write about all of these in great detail to get a high band score. So you have to choose just a couple of these. Which one do you think is the easiest few? So you're right, Jeffrey, you should choose maybe 2 or 3 of these for your essay. Which 2 or 3 of these would be the easiest to choose so that you can write a strong essay quickly that will get you a band score 7, 8, possibly even a 9? Very clever, Naveen. So Naveen, you're reading my mind. So Naveen says, I think the easiest one to write about here for financial success is education and capital. So education and money are needed for financial success. Okay, so Naveen says, I think this one is a good one. Let's bold and underline that one then. And I think this one is a good one. So I think these would be some top choices when answering this question to get a high score. Okay, Shanu agrees. So education and money. Yeah, Baljit, I probably wouldn't go into talent and hard work. The reason why is if you think about hard work and talent a little bit more, they're very subjective and they're quite tricky to write clearly about. It's easy to get stuck in an endless loop or tunnel trying to explain those ideas in a 40-minute, 250-word essay. Okay, if you had 3-4 days as a school assignment and you could write 2,000 words, then Baljit, it would be okay to go in that direction. But on the IELTS, you're better off sticking to good education and capital. Why? With good education, you can connect with innovation as well, right? So coming up with new ideas. And capital is easy to measure, okay? So when you're thinking about which of these ideas, think about a couple points. So think about which are the easiest to write about and explain. And explain in English, okay, of course, because there's that challenge of language when you're writing as well. And then connected to that, which of these are the easiest to quantify and which of these are the easiest to give examples for. Okay, so if you think about these questions, which of these is the easiest to quantify and which of these are the easiest to give examples for, that helps you to make the correct selection from what you just wrote down. All right? So if I think about, okay, well, is it easy to quantify startup capital? Absolutely. So I can say, well, if I have $20,000 to open a coffee shop or a vegetarian restaurant for those students who were in yesterday's class, then you say, okay, well, if I have money, then I can make more money. For example, if I have $50,000 to open a vegetarian restaurant, which becomes successful through hard work, then I can make even more money and have financial success. Bada bing, bada bam. That is an easy example. That's quantitative. It's quantifiable. It's easy to measure. Okay, is it possible for everyone? No, because not everybody has access to $50,000. So the answer is very, very easy. Okay, now, of course, what do I need to have a successful vegetarian restaurant? Well, I need education. I need education about management. I need education about how to operate a restaurant. I need education about cooking, how to make good, delicious foods that people will love and come back for and spend their money so that my restaurant is successful. Okay? So right away, I realized that it's easy to come up with examples for good education leading to financial success and startup capita being quantifiable, measurable, okay? So now I can quickly and confidently write my essay, okay? So here is where I can now come up with my thesis statement. Okay, write your thesis statement, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, yeah, knowledge of accounting, Jeffrey, would help a lot, absolutely as well. So come up with your thesis statement, members. So give me a nice, direct thesis statement. So this is, Naveen, where you can see the idea of direct questions or direct statements. There's such a thing as a direct thesis statement, such a thing as an indirect thesis statement. In IELTS, you should always use a direct thesis statement where you clearly name your points and your argument position. Okay, so in IELTS, always use a direct, not an indirect thesis. I'm not even going to explain that right now because I want you to use a direct thesis statement where you clearly look at the answer. You don't really need to look, Baljit, at the question for this, but I'll show it to you again. It's in the stream description as well. So here's the question one more time. Many people believe that financial success is important for a fulfilling and happy life. What is needed to achieve financial success these days? And is this possible for everyone? Okay, so that's the question. Come up with your thesis based on our brainstorming, where we identified our two key points as good education and startup capital. Okay? So Mohammed says, in my opinion, in order to be successful in life, quality education and money is essential. Mohammed, that's good. Okay, this one we're writing in third person, but sure, if you want to do first person, that's fine. Often open questions and IELTS will be first person. Mohammed, if you write quality education, you have an adjective and a noun. So you have to make your second point, money, an adjective and a noun as well. Can you try to do that, Mohammed? So then it will become an excellent thesis, and you have to add the other part of it, which is, do you think it's possible for everyone? So do it one more time, Mohammed. Just keep it very similar. Just you have to put something. You have to do something with money. I don't want to give you too much of a hint. You have to finish your thesis. Okay? Although there are several elements needed for financial success, two of the most important include quality education and something. Naveen says, to be successful financially, individuals need proper education and adequate capital to invest in a business and be lucrative. You don't need that second part, Naveen. So you can just say adequate capital. However, you need to finish your thesis as well. So, and adequate capital Okay, so I can say, however, this is not possible, or you can disagree with me here, so you can say, and this is possible for all people. So you might argue that, hey, I believe that everyone in the world can scrape together enough money to to start a business, and everybody in the world can fight to have a good education if they take the right path. Okay. Welcome, new member, to the group. Thank you for joining. Make sure to send me an email so I can give you access to our 6 full practice exams, some private videos, and of course you can start requesting IELTS classes as well now. So welcome. Yeah, so adequate finance is essential. Good correction, Mohammed. Yeah. Farheen, I think you're a little bit off topic there with the self-learning. Shanu says, in my perspective, education and money can bring many possibilities in life and make it smooth without hardships. Again, Shanu, careful. You need to focus on financial success, okay? It's not just making life smooth, but the focus here is financial success. Your thesis has to focus clearly on the exact topic. Jeffrey says, to attain wealth, one should at least have expertise and assets to be successful. Okay, careful to state to start a business. They might not start a business, Jeffrey. They might just get for example, like an executive position in a large company. So they might work for another business with their expertise and with assets. Because if you're going to apply for a job to work as the CEO of a company, you probably can't show up in a $5 suit. So you need some money to go get yourself that nice suit so they'll take you serious for that position, right? So again, you can still argue the money. So don't limit yourself with business necessarily, Jeffrey, okay? Not in the thesis anyway. And again, answer the full thesis. So is it possible for everyone or not, okay? Shanu, I did look at yours. I'll take a second peek here, but I did take a look at it. And as I mentioned, it was a little bit off topic. Yeah, so Shanu, I looked at yours. In my perspective, education and money can bring financial success in life, but it's not possible for everyone. That would be better, Shanu, okay? Baljit says, in order to achieve financial success, proper education and startup capital are required, and this is possible for everyone if they possess certain skills. Very good, Baljit. So yeah, you can argue that one. Okay, so you can definitely argue that one. Farheen, self-earning is awkward English. I think what you're saying is to make your own business, but it's awkward English. I wouldn't go that direction. Okay, so now we can write our essay, starting with the introduction. And when you write the introduction with these open question task 2s, you'll realize when you see them in other Cambridge books or other IELTS websites that are good, you will see that the hook is often included in the question. Okay? So here you see, many people believe that financial success is important for a fulfilling and happy life. So the hook is easy for these types of open questions usually because it's kind of included in the beginning of these types of questions in IELTS. So all you have to do is really just paraphrase this and you've got a good start to your essay. Okay? Yeah, Baljit, absolutely. I think you're asking what I'm saying right now is that when you look at the question, that hook is there. You just have to kind of do a paraphrase. So let's do that. So for the introduction, write your hook. This is not your thesis. We'll put that in after. Write your hook. It is important for all of our viewers who are watching, if you've heard otherwise, that, you don't need a hook. Yeah, you don't need anything. You could just write 2 words and hand it in as your essay. But I always tell students you should write a hook because the hook will make your essay better, nicer. It will make your essay more clear. It will help you think more clearly. And you will get marks if it's good. So Naveen says, financial success is considered as a tool for prominence these days. Yeah, Naveen, to make that a little bit more natural, I would say financial success is fundamental for prominence these days. Or I would even say, instead of prominence, prosperity. Okay? So financial, and then some nice vocabulary, right? So financial success is considered fundamental for prosperity and well-being or contentment these days. Sure. Okay. That would be maybe a little bit more natural, Naveen. It's very, very close to what you wrote. Yeah, Jeffrey, very good. That's another very good one. Jeffrey says, being rich is most people's definitions for success and happiness in the modern world. Yeah, so I'll write that as an alternative. Okay, so that would be another alternative hook. I like it, Jeffrey, so I'm putting it up here. Being rich is most people's definition for success and happiness in our modern world. Yeah, definitely. I think that would catch your reader's attention, and that gets you focused as well. So those are some good, those are some great hooks. Okay. Farhim, don't go into your argument yet. So don't go into what is needed, knowledge or work. Okay. Just stay with the topic. So stay with financial success is important for people's life. Okay, so a lot of people putting emphasis on that. Okay, and then we give some background information. And background information, of course, means definitions and importance of the topic. So okay, so here, what would I give definitions for? So what should I define? Okay, let's see how well you've practiced and you've figured this out, students. So Shanu, Baljit, other members who are watching, new member who's jumped in. What do I need to define here? Baljit, that's another good hook. Many people believe that in order to live a high quality of life, financial goals are essential or vital. Yeah, very good, Baljit. Nice paraphrasing. That would make a good hook as well. Okay, no space before the comma. Okay, the comma comes right after life, Baljit. So what should I define here? What should I define? What is my definition for the reader, so that the reader and I are on the same page, so that we're talking about the same ideas? Jeffrey says maybe the importance of the 2 points. No, not really. It's the importance of the question, but I'm talking about the definition. So Naveen says the definition of success and financial importance. Keep it more simple, Naveen. Keep it even more simple for the logic of this question. Okay? So I would simply say financial success and how that is connected to a quality life. Shanu, you're kind of on the right track there, right? So your definition here should be so what is financial success? And how is that connected to a quality life? Asking the right questions, members, is really important, okay? So how is this connected to a good life, okay? Don't assume that everybody just knows the answer, okay? You have to give your own perspective. So what is exactly, Jeffrey, what is being rich? Being rich to one person can be very different than for another person. So one person says, hey, you're rich if you have a house, a couple of cars, and you have money to go on vacations. You have a couple of kids, you have a dog, and you don't worry about money. You're rich. Somebody else might say, that's not financial success. Financial success is when you own at least a couple of Lamborghinis, Bugatti, you have a helicopter, you can fly with your own plane to your own remote little island where you can relax in the ocean on your own yacht. So somebody might say that's what financial success is. So you need to define financial success so that your reader knows what you're actually discussing in terms of what's needed to achieve that. Because of course you need a lot of, so you need different elements to have your own yacht next to your own island where you fly with your own helicopter than owning a couple of cars, a nice family home, and that's it, right? So you need to define that. So you need to say a good definition for that. So try writing an answer for that. I'll do the same, okay? So here we have financial success is considered fundamental for prosperity and contentment these days, okay? An individual can have financial freedom once earning a minimum $100,000 US per year. So they can afford a family, a house, car, and annual vacations. This helps them to lead a happy and fulfilling life. Okay? So there you have that definition with the importance of the question. So the importance of the question to lead a happy and fulfilling life, and the definition of financial success, an individual earning 100,000 US per year. You can write whatever you want for that as long as it's realistic, and they can afford a family, a house, a car, and some vacations, okay? All right. So that would be your definition with the importance. Now, of course, you can just plug in the thesis statements that you came up with. All right. So here, all I do is I'm going to take my thesis statement, my direct thesis statement, and I'm going to plug it in right here. All right. Okay. So now I have a strong introduction to this open question, and it's very clear where I'm going with it. All right? Let's read it, students. Okay, let's read it. So Jeffrey says, having a salary of more than $100,000 per month, and children don't need to worry about school fees. Jeffrey, I'm thinking you're talking Taiwanese dollars. U.S. dollars, that would be quite a bit. You're talking over 1.2 million annual U.S. dollars. That would be a wealthy person. But it's clear, okay? So a good quantitative information. Naveen says a person who is earning $1 million annually is considered a fortunate individual, and this fosters them to enjoy and indulge in their every needs and desires. Okay, Naveen, so you're shooting for the stars as well. So you're also talking about enormous financial success, okay? You'd want to be careful with that. I think you might get into a little bit more of a difficult position to get a high band score if you're talking about wealthy people as financial success rather than just, let's say, simple financial success, okay? So Baljit says, first let's talk about education, and second let's talk about finance, okay? Now, is that good? So is it good to talk about education and then finance? Or is it easier to switch these two around and maybe just switch them in the thesis? You're kind of, I'm taking what you wrote there, Baljit, and I'm using that as a question. So what should my first paragraph be about, ideally? So here, of course, the order is education and then capital. But is that a good order, or should I maybe switch these and that would be a better order? So quality education first, and then money, or money first and then education? What do you think is the easier way to write this task 2 essay? It's arguable, and I don't presume that I have the best answer or the only answer. So Mohammed says education and capital, and Jeffrey disagrees. Jeffrey says, I think let's talk about money first and then capital. Naveen says same as Jeffrey. So Naveen says maybe money first and then education. Yeah, Shanu says maybe money first. Arguable. I think it's easier to talk about money first and then education. The reason why is because of the connecting sentence. So sometimes if you think about the connecting sentence, it will tell you which one's easier to write about first. So here's body paragraph 1. Body 1, right? Let's imagine that we're talking about money. Okay, so we're going to have our topic sentence, we're going to have our explanation, we're going to have our example, and then we're going to have our connecting sentence. And this would be my connecting sentence here. Now, I know this seems kind of strange what I'm doing right now, members. I'm jumping really out of order, but there is logic to my madness. Have a look at this sentence. However, all of the money in the world is not enough for financial success if used poorly. For this, quality education is absolutely crucial. Okay, so that's my connecting sentence. Now, some of the other students said, well, I think education, I think, Mohammed, you said education, and you could do it that way as well. So it is arguable, and I believe that it is arguable that you could say, Mohammed might be typing this right now, that, hey, Adrian, you could say that exactly the reverse as well. You could say, education and knowledge is important to make good business decisions. However, all the education in the world is not enough if a person lacks the money to start their business. And hey, you know what? I agree with you, Mohammed, if that's what you're thinking. Because you can do it that way as well, okay? I think this way might be a little bit easier, but I think you could do it that way, Mohammed, and I think you could do it that way as well, Baljit. So, absolutely, okay? All right. And then, yes, you have to include whether or not it's achievable for everyone. So some of you are asking, well, we need to include, is it achievable for everyone? And yeah, you can. So that's probably near the end here. So my topic sentence for body paragraph 1 would be talking about the importance of money. Now, if I write about money first, I want to make sure that I correct my thesis, right? So here, I need to switch the order. And quality education, okay? So I just switch the order of the thesis points. And yes, absolutely, members, you're right. Don't forget to include whether or not this is achievable for everyone. So I went with the idea of it's not achievable for everyone. So I need to state that in my body paragraph. So unfortunately, not all people have the ability to receive or have startup capital, as they are born into extreme poverty, as many people are born into extreme poverty. Okay, so you could disagree with me on that, and you could say, yes, absolutely, all people have a chance to make some money with hard work and effort. I'm going to keep it simple here. IELTS will not judge you, okay? Remember that. I would write this before this sentence. So unfortunately, not all people have the ability to receive or have startup capital, as many humans are born into extreme poverty with no way out. However, and then here, my connecting sentence might be something like this. Nevertheless, even all the money in the world is not enough for financial success if used properly. So this is my connecting sentence here. Okay, so I'm doing something a little bit tricky here, members. I'm going in a reverse order. And notice, ladies and gents, that when you have a really good idea of how to structure an essay and how to manipulate information, you can basically piece together your essay like a puzzle, even out of sequence or even out of order, like I'm doing right now. So right now, I've actually written the connecting sentence, the last part of the body paragraph, before writing examples, explanations, and the topic sentence, okay? So that's what should come here. You should have your topic sentence here, right? You should have your explanation. And you should have your example here. Okay? That's how it should look. All right. So, any questions, members? Any questions about this essay so far? As you can guess, I'm going to give you the rest of this for homework. We've run out of time. But if you have any questions about this essay or this question, now's the time. Okay? It's a patchwork essay. Yes, absolutely. It's like a quilt. Jeffrey, it's a quilt. If some of you know what a quilt is a blanket that's made up of different pieces patched together. Okay? Naveen saying, is this a first-person essay? Naveen, so far, no. This is a third-person essay. I haven't used I, me, or my anywhere. So I haven't written I believe. And that's because of the question, Naveen. So the question says, present a written essay as you would to a professor in a university class. And then here it says, give reasons for your answer and include any relevant examples and explanations. It does not say from your own knowledge. So because of these two parts of the question, I've identified this as a third-person essay, and I've written it as a third-person essay. You should do the same, okay? So notice that in my introduction, Naveen, there is no first person. There's no I, there's no me, there's no my. And in my response or in my writing of the body paragraph, you don't see that anywhere either. Okay? Any other questions about this essay? Any other questions? Now's your chance. If you do have some questions, members, you can always send me an email too. If it comes to mind later, or if you realize a question later, that's absolutely okay. Yes, Jeffrey, so your examples should be non-personal. It doesn't have to be completely outside of your experience. Just don't say as my brother. Instead, say it as John started a business, okay? Or Bill Gates started his business because his parents invested $500,000 into his company. Okay, so don't include I, me, my. Baljit, the is this possible for everyone part should come near the end of the body paragraph. So just like what I showed you, Baljit, okay? So here, notice that this is body paragraph 1, okay? And in body paragraph 1 here, we have a missing topic, sentence, explanation, example. And just before the connecting sentence, I answer the if it's possible for everyone or not. So it should come there. When you have body paragraph 2, it should be also near the end of body paragraph 2. And you might want to put a little bit more in for the conclusion about it's possible or it's not possible for everyone. Maybe in the take-home message, Baljit. So good question, okay? Near the end of the body paragraphs and the conclusion. That's where you're going with it. Yes, Baljit, you could give an example of AE help. Absolutely. So it's something from your own life, but you can use it indirectly, okay? Yes, Naveen, absolutely. That's exactly what I just said. So you need to, because it's two different pieces, right, Naveen? So is money possible for everyone? Yes or no? Is quality education possible for everyone? Yes or no? It's probably a good idea not to give different answers for each of those, a yes and no. So if you go no, then say no for both of them. If you go yes for both of them, just because it's a little bit more simple. All right. Good. If you have more questions, again, send them to me through email. I will be happy to answer those for you. Remember, my email address is adrian@aehelp.com. Amazing participation today, members. That's what I like to see. When there's lots of us in the class, you don't just get to learn from me, but you get to learn from each other. Peer learning is proven to be one of the most effective forms of learning in our lives. So please always join into these members chat classes. We have a new member joining in today. That was nice to see. Again, make sure to request classes. Send me your requests. Okay, I love doing these with you. So thank you, Naveen, for being so forward with your requests. I'd love to see some requests from some of our other members. You're very welcome, Mohammed. Good to see you in class. You're very welcome, Shanu, Baljit. Have a beautiful rest of your weekend, ladies and gents. I will see you on Wednesday. Thank you to all of our viewers who were watching this class. And again, don't be shy to get some of the best help you can in the online world. Make sure to join us at aehelp.com for academic IELTS and gieltshelp.com for general IELTS. And don't forget to check out our latest speaking interview video that just went up in the last 12 hours. That is speaking for Brazilian who gets an 8.5. Jeffrey, thank you so much for your super chat investment. Always appreciated. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. You wonderful, wonderful people. Bye for now.